like food? I love food. In fact, I live for food. We all live for food. In fact, food is something we all love to talk about because we're from the South. Hey, welcome to another great edition of Mississippi Stories. I am your host, Marshall Ramsey. Our guest today, this is how she describes herself. Cooking is her hobby, eating is her sport, food is her comfort, and she is food's biggest fan. We have Rachel with us. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us. You also own the fantastic restaurant Poké Stop, which
yes, sir.
Which we've had to reschedule a couple times because you're, as being a small business owner, things got busy. You got slammed yesterday, and so glad that you made it in today. But I mean, what a nice problem to have.
Yeah, it is. It is. The community here is great, so they always come out and support. So that was just a very strange Tuesday for us because we didn't expect that. We have a group chat together with all the team members, just like, and a lot of times they text each other in the group and just like, hey, happy Tuesday, you guys. It's gonna be good today. And we're just like, hey, I have an interview. It's Tuesday. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be slow Tuesday, and I have no idea what happened. So that's why I had to run into the rescue. So thank you for having me here today.
Yeah. I'm so glad you're here.
So understanding.
And I really hate that our video is not scratch and sniff because you did bring in some food, and so oh my gosh, I'm excited about that.
If I go somewhere, I'm gonna feed you. Let's put it that way. I'm gonna make sure you're fed.
This is the first of 15 different episodes in a row we're gonna do with Rachel. Seriously though, you I mean, I love stalking your social media because you take lots of pictures of food and you make food look fantastic. But it's not just food you make, it's also food that you find out. And like you even had a picture of, I think it was like a Costco or Sam's piece of pizza for $2, and it looked fantastic. But when did you figure out that you really loved food?
You know what, it started really strange. So I was probably 18 years old, and I got the first camera phone that came out, and I was just like, I don't know what to take pictures of. What can I take pictures of, right? And I tried taking pictures of flowers and stuff. I'm like, and I was like, I love to eat. So, and this was probably 25 years ago. Was it 25? No, 20 years. I'm thinking I'm much older than I am.
Okay.
So, so I started taking pictures of food, everything that I was eating. I'm like, I really enjoy this. This is so much fun. So that's when I kind of just started taking pictures of all my food and everything, especially stuff that my mom cooked.
Yeah.
And I had a little home cook photo, and it used to be photo bucket where you download everything on there. And I had a little photo bucket of all mom's home cooking, and it was just so much fun. And now I look back at it 20 years later, I'm like, wow, my picture taking skills were horrible, but the food still looks so good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Your mom loved to cook. How is her kitchen? Because I know in my mom's kitchen, there was she had her part of the kitchen. You didn't dare cross into that section.
Oh yeah. I think that's pretty much our generation. So it's just no, you stay out of mama's kitchen. Yeah. It's that's her area, that's her comfort zone. And I realize I take after my mom because that's my area, my comfort zone. So when my husband's home, I'm like, you stay over there. Yeah. I'm gonna get everything ready.
Does he cook?
No.
Okay.
He is great with the microwave though.
Of course.
He can pop every kernel on a popcorn. I'm telling you right now.
That really is.
It's
impressive. That's a skill.
It's really impressive because he can do that, and I cannot get that part down. But no, he can burn boiled water.
I got to tell you a quick story about myself. I'll tell this one on me. So my wife was out of town. I had my two oldest sons. I had to feed them. And the Kraft macaroni and cheese, which you pour water in, I put it in the microwave, turned it on, forgot to put the water in it, and suddenly black acrid smoke comes pouring out. I almost had to throw the microwave out. It smelled so bad. So I am actually a better cook than that. But I'm just saying, I have complete admiration for your husband's skills. But you love to cook.
Yes.
Did your mom teach you to cook when you were little?
I'm going to be honest, she didn't.
Okay.
Because like I said, her kitchen was her area.
Yeah.
All her spices, all her recipes.
So that was her escape.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much from us.
Yeah, exactly.
So
well, I wasn't going to go there, but yeah.
We left her alone, with her space. It was her comfort zone. And all of her recipes was from memories from her mom.
Yeah.
But she was so consistent. It was consistent every time. Yeah. And whenever she made a big pot of pho or bumbo or whatever it is that took 24 hours to stew, it was always consistent. But it was so hard for me to learn it, even when I watched her, you know, from afar, because it was just all through memory. But yeah, I started cooking when I kind of went on my own, and it was it's more of a hobby. That's why I say food is such my hobby, because I would try something and I said, it's so good, but I'm so young, I don't have the money to go out and buy all of this stuff. So what I started to do is I come home and I'm like, let me try to mimic this dish.
Yeah.
Let me try to get as close as I can. And every time that I could, it was just like such rewarding to me. So then that's how I really got into cooking, because I'm like, let me try to taste out everything that I'm eating and kind of go from there and try to mimic this dish. And that's kind of how I started like cooking and learning everything on my own.
So that's one thing, I've gotten interviewed 2 or 3 chefs recently, and I really love talking to people who create dishes and create different things, because I realized, because I paint and I draw cartoons, and I realized that in a way, it's very similar. It's literally, you're just, instead of doing colors and so forth, you are using colors, but using taste and so forth, and it's fascinating. Let me tell you, I love the superhero origin story. I love to hear how people got to Mississippi. And you've got a really great story too. In fact, we almost took a similar path, although mine was Atlanta to Southern California to here, but you came here from Southern California. Not originally, your family's originally from Vietnam, but you were in Long Beach. How in the heck did you end up in Jackson, Mississippi?
My sister lived here for 20 years.
Okay.
So I visited her a lot.
How did she get here? Just
her husband dragged her here.
Okay, so that makes complete sense. Okay, yeah.
So her husband's family, when they moved from Vietnam, I think they resided here.
Yeah.
And they've stayed here ever since. And when they got married, she moved here. So she's been here maybe 20, 25 years. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And so since I was 15 years old, every summer I would come over here.
Gotcha.
So I was here before Flowood was built up. I was here before a lot of the places were built up. And just to see that growth was pretty awesome.
Remember when you literally go down Lakeland Drive and the Wendy's and the McDonald's were like the last thing? Dogwood wasn't even there.
Nothing was there.
Yeah.
So just to see the growth of it was great. But after she moved here, I was actually an area manager for Ross Dress for Less, or manager for Ross Dress for Less, and in Orange County. I'm trying to remember. I feel like it's been so long. In Orange County, and she needed some help over here. I was on very good terms with my company, so I said, you know, family first. Let me go help my family. I'll be back. They said that's fine, and I came here, and I really liked it. Yeah. I really thought, honestly, I was like a total city girl, California girl, love the beach life, all that stuff, until I moved here and I realized maybe that wasn't really for me. Maybe I liked the kind of like a slower pace, more relaxed. Like I really enjoyed it out here more.
Well, you love food too, and we have such a great food community here in the Jackson area.
We really do. Yeah. That is something I really praise, because the food community here really opened me up to different kind of foods that I actually haven't tried. Yeah. Like I've never, believe it or not, I was not a big fan of vegetables.
No, okay.
I was not a big fan of vegetables.
I know what you do now, so that kind of surprises me a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was not a big vegetable person. Growing up, my mom's like, eat your vegetables. And I'm like, I don't want to. She's like, that's how, you got to stay young. And that's how, I don't know, Asian people think that if you eat vegetables, you stay young. So, and she'll say that to me when I'm like 10, 15. I'm like, I am young, Mom. But I grew up not eating that. And then when I came here, I remember one day I looked up just different places to try, and I saw Bullies. And so I remember talking to a few people there. They're like, I don't know what Bullies is. I don't really go to Bullies. So I'm like, okay, you guys are all working. I'm just gonna go to Bullies. So I drove up, and I'm like, okay, this is different, because when you're in California, you're used to big places, and so I was just like, this is different. I walked in. And I remember an older lady, and she was just like, hey, come on in, like she was just the nicest, sweetest, like, lady. And I'm just like, okay. And another thing from California, you're not used to people like welcoming and be like, come sit down with us. And I'm like, what's going on? So
That's so true.
It's true. It's very true.
True story, not to interrupt you, but when we got the job, when I got the job here,
Uh-huh.
we flew into Atlanta, drove over here, stopped at the rest area, and this guy said, "How are y'all doing?" And I looked at my wife and I said, "Run, he's gonna attack us."
There's no lies there,
Yeah.
because that is very true. Okay, so I've had my first rutabaga for the first time. Rutabagas.
Yeah.
I'm so in love with like, oh my gosh, 10 years later, I love my rutabagas. I love my greens. Like, I've never had collard green. I never had turnip greens. And I loved it so much that every year I fly home during Thanksgiving and I cook a feast for like 40, 45 family members.
Wow.
And it's me alone, because a lot of my families don't really cook American food.
Yeah.
So they're like, that's your thing, you do it. So I'm cooking a feast for 40, 45 people. And one year I went to look for greens and turnips, and none of them has ever had it. So they're like, what is this? Why is greens, why are they cooked in soup?
You're like, eat
You
your
know,
vegetables.
just
It'll keep
try
you
it.
young.
They loved it.
Did
And
they?
I was just, yes, because they're like, this is so different. I'm like, yeah, it's just not a salad. It's
Yeah.
different. So I started eating my vegetables because of that. Let me tell you another story though. I can talk for days, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
But-
That's why you're here.
but you know, I remember when I used to eat super healthy also though. You know, you don't have to eat your vegetables to be super healthy. So I was eating super healthy, but I'm like, man, I keep eating these greens and I can't lose weight. I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. And then the lady goes, child, it's cooked in like pork fat and lard. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, and I cannot stop eating it though because it's so good. But that's why I couldn't. I didn't understand why. I was so confused.
But that's also why it's so delicious.
It's so good.
Yeah.
That's why it's so good.
Yeah.
But it's so much flavor.
Yeah.
We bring the flavor. Like the flavor
Definitely.
here. Like you can't find that. Like it's so good. What was I saying about the California thing? You said when you first moved
Well, you
here.
moved here. I mean, my thing was, wow, I felt like I was in Ireland because everything was so green.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But everybody's real friendly and they're real
Yep.
kind, and I mean, you did.
It's
You
so
were,
different.
You were welcomed. I mean, like I said, the food community here, the bloggers here, and all the foodies here are so passionate about what they're doing, and you fell into that community right away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I really did. I really did.
Well, number one, your pictures are amazing.
Thank you.
But tell everybody real quick on how they can see your pictures, because I know it's like different ways, Instagram and so forth.
I'm so old school. People try to tell me to go on Instagram, and I'm just like, it's just too, I don't know. I don't understand how this works. I'm like, I know how Facebook works.
Yeah.
So people follow me on my Facebook.
Okay.
It used to be private, but I just open it up because I noticed people really enjoyed the food pictures and my food posts and just trying new things. So
It's
now
kind of
it's
cool to read
public.
about your restaurant too.
Yeah. I post about my restaurant every now and then just so you can see what new stuff that we have.
Yeah.
But you can always follow Rachel Phuong is my Vietnamese name, Phuong, and my last name is Lay. And you can just always follow that page and just see new restaurants and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
how did the restaurant come about?
My restaurant?
Yeah. I mean, you're cooking and you're enjoying cooking and everything.
Yeah.
You're just like, well, I really need something to do for 24 hours a day.
Well, in 2019, I heard that a food hall was coming to Mississippi. And I was just like, I love food halls because where I live in Long Beach, there's food halls like in almost every corner. So I was just like, I know this culture, like I understand it, like I want to be a part of it. So I contacted Cultivation Food Hall, and I was one of the first vendors to sign on and one of the last vendors of the first to be out. But it's a really awesome concept because you can go in there, it's a low startup. It's not a lot of, it's a low startup, but also you want to see if your concept works.
Right.
And
Yeah, it's kind of like training wheels.
Yeah, and my concept, like it worked.
Yeah.
And people here want healthy, but it's not a lot of options for healthy.
Healthy with taste.
Healthy with taste, healthy that is not boring. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
And so I'm like, I've had poke all over, but I wanted to bring something different to Mississippi, a different take on poke.
Yeah.
So my take is all of my sauces are made in-house from scratch. And it just has a lot of flavor, because if you're gonna be here, you gotta bring the flavor. So I think that's what makes us a little bit different than other poke stuff.
We were talking a little bit before we started rolling on the camera about a little bit, like if you go, the food that we eat here, like pho, and it's different than it is like you would eat in Vietnam, for instance, or whatever. But it was just because of spices. Where do you get your ingredients and so forth? Because I mean, it would be It's hard for you to recreate dishes if you don't have the original spices.
It's very hard. So we have to actually special order a lot of our things in, because I can't just go to Kroger and pick it up.
Yeah.
You know, even our sesame oil and stuff like that, I have to special order those because it's not the same quality if I go to an American place to pick it up, because sesame oil from Japan is much different.
So thank goodness for the internet, right?
Yes.
The biggest challenge on the restaurant, you have a good team, and obviously there's been so many stories. You had the pandemic. Of course, you said you started in 2019 and literally got hit right as the pandemic started. You'd been going for about a year, but it sounds like you've got a good team that you enjoy working with.
Oh yeah, I absolutely love my team. They're very, very hardworking individuals. So I'm very blessed to have like a young staff that is so hardworking for me, and they love each other.
Yeah.
And that's the best part about it, because they are there. Like, I always tell people, sometimes it's to a fault.
Yeah.
Where if one of them is something happened, they're like, I can't be there. The other one's like, I got you. I'm like, but you're working also that night. Like, how are you gonna cover 2 bodies?
Right.
I'll work extra hard. Huh?
You had one said that they were going to be here at the restaurant today, even though they were off, to help cover for you being here. That's cool. That's good to have.
They're so good to me. They were just like, Miss Rachel, you got to go do this interview. I said, I am. You know, I'm just a little worried how you guys are going to do. And they're like, nah, just go. I'll be here. And I'm like, you're off tomorrow. And he said, I know. I'll be here. Don't worry about it.
What's your favorite food?
Oh man.
See, I thought I'd throw a really tough one right at.
Why did you do that?
Just because that's who I am.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, my favorite food is almost, I don't know, any Asian cuisines, I guess.
Yeah.
I just love Asian flavors. That's something that I just can't get tired of.
Yeah.
I just can't, because every region, every country is so different. And it's like, I love a good balance of spice and sweet and savory and textures. And that's why when I come out with my dishes, it's just like you'll have a balance of like spice, sweet, savory, different kind of textures in there. So it's a little bit of everything, a little party. So that's why I really like Asian cuisines.
Well, you showed a lot of love to greens. I'm totally with you on that one. I love me some greens too. But when you came here to the South, what was a Southern food that really just knocked you out and thought was fantastic?
I gotta say, it's probably the bullies. It's everything. It's not just like the food itself. It's the community, the people that were there. Yeah. It's just everything. When you walk in, you feel this sense of family, community. Even though I was new here, I didn't have a sense of belonging, to be honest with you, because I'm so new. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know how things were, and just walking into that, it's just like, whew. This is what Mississippi is, and it was great. And that's really the beginning of what really kept me here, because of that one day, that one instance that I walked in and I just saw that. And I remember seeing a police officer there, and you know, I'm always kind of like, every time you're around police officers, you're kind of like, I don't know, can I eat my food? Like, you know, you get kind of nervous. And he was just like, you like your food? I'm like, yeah, it's good. And everybody was just so friendly. Yeah. Everybody was just so great. And it was just like, you know, I felt like I was welcomed, very, very welcomed.
Any final thoughts before we go? This has been great. Like I said, number one, the food looked really good. I can't wait to dive into it. So.
Yeah, so I hope you guys like it.
We'll love it.
Yeah. I don't know, just thank you for having me here.
Oh my gosh, it's good to get to meet you and talk to you. Like I said, I've been a fan. I mean, I've been stalking you on the socials. So.
And letting me tell my story.
Yeah, what a great story it is. I mean, number one, your entrepreneurial spirit, and
thank you.
You know, I know it's not the easiest thing in the world to chase after your dream, but you're doing a great job of it.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, thank you for having me here.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Hey, and thank you. Thank you for watching another edition of Mississippi Story. If you want to see more, well, you can go to MississippiToday.org. And guess what? You'll see a lot of our great coverage as well, and a few of my cartoons as well. Hey, make sure you click the like button so you can see more of these great videos. And we'll see you next time right here on Mississippi Stories. Thank you for watching this episode of Mississippi Stories. Make sure to subscribe to the Mississippi Today YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified every time a new video uploads.